Hey everyone, Merry Christmas. Just gonna make a short live video. I'm not gonna be long. I guess everyone is busy. So, Merry Christmas, yard. Who else I'm missing? Lillian. Hey MGR, Vicky. Hey, Merry Christmas. I just mentioned your name. Who I'm missing? I'm missing someone. Um, Avon. So I just wish y'all Merry Christmas. Well, this is the first. I'm at home, so I didn't go to South Carolina this year for Christmas. So it's kind of strange not going anywhere. Hey Dorian, I called you earlier. You need to check your voicemail. Hey Nicole. Merry Christmas, y'all. Hey T have. Hey, Merry Christmas. What are you up to? Yeah. Hey D Star. Just sitting around the house looking at TV. I finally got out of bed, laying around. Hey Jameson. Merry Christmas. Don't feel bad. I never go anywhere either. Yeah, that's true. But I'm used to going to South Carolina for Christmas. But a lot of people didn't go to visit my grandmother this year for Christmas. I mean, there's some people went to visit, but you know how large my family is, and a lot of people couldn't come because one, Christmas falling on the middle of the week, Tuesday. So a lot of people had to work yesterday and they got to work the next day. Getting dinner at YU is open. Okay. I don't know what's Wawa, Mona. Oh, that must be a gas station or something. Oh, I think I seen Wawa. I think I saw Wawa. Is that in Florida? But anywho's, I'll probably just bake me some chicken legs and stir fry me some kale. Oh, okay. I knew it was a convenience store. I've been there before, Wawa. Shoot, that's the only thing that probably be open. Convenience stores and maybe fast food places, but I don't know. It depends. Okay, I've seen Wawa before. It is a gas station. It's like a Quick Trip that they have in Atlanta. But probably better. Yeah, I'm gonna make me some barbecue chicken legs, and I'm gonna have kale, and probably open up one of the vegetables. Shoot, ain't nothing wrong with no chicken legs, that's for sure. Especially barbecue chicken. But anywho, people will make you sandwiches and they have soups too. Okay, it's probably better than Quick Trip. I think I remember stopping over there and got something to eat. Matter of fact, I think I did get a sandwich. But they made it from. Yeah, I remember going there. It almost looked like a convenience store. That's healthy. I'm trying to eat better. Already, I lost 20 pounds in a little over 2 months. Hey, that's great, Nicole. I'm going to start getting back into health myself. Hey, Lynn, look at you sending me an email message. Forget to Thank you. You'll see how it came out? Look. I need to shampoo it, though. See, after man, let me tell you, I got so many compliments on this cut. After I had cut it, I got a lot of compliments. So many people comment on my hair at work that they told me I need to keep it cut like this. So I think I'm gonna let it grow out a little bit, and then I'm gonna get someone to cut a little. I know. It is easier to take care of. I don't have to try to comb through all that anymore and spend a whole lot of money going to the Dominican letting it flat iron. But it's a lot though. It's a hot world, and then flat iron it and be, for it to be real long. Electricity just went out temporarily. What the world went on? It's strange. I'm sitting here, and all of a sudden, oh, my internet didn't cut off. It was just my electricity in the house. All of a sudden, the TV went off. And then it just might have I think I have a switch. Something happened. I'm like, what the hell? Anywho. But everything else has been going good so far. I know, and I hate that, because usually a power surge somewhere, that means it's time for me to get something checked. But anywho, I haven't been doing a lot of the ride sharing in the last few months, and none of the gig jobs. I've basically been working my regular job 11 to 7:30, and it's kind of hard to do any of those gig jobs like I used to. All right, hold on, y'all. I'm gonna have to get a charger before my phone goes dead. But a lot of the things that I was doing prior to going back to work, like, all right, let me plug up my phone, because I know I only had so much battery life remaining. But prior to going back to work, I had Deliv and, okay, this plug don't work. Oh, I hate this. Let's see. All right, Mona, see you later. Merry Christmas. Oh, trying to. Well, anywho, like I was saying, I haven't been doing a whole lot of the gig jobs in the last few months since going back to work. And even though it still does not take care of all of my financial needs, I did work that couple weeks at Carter's when I was working part-time. That somewhat kind of helped a little bit. Well, it was only one check, but it wasn't, nothing. And I didn't really work a whole lot of hours, but it was only a short-term stint. And after that, it was just too far to travel to Brazelton, and It was like literally I had to leave my house like 4 o'clock in the morning, 4:30 the latest, just to get there by 6 o'clock to start, meaning you have to be at the clocked in. And and the warehouse was huge. So, but it was a pretty good gig, for a temporary gig. But, I did miss a few days, and after that, I was like, well, dang, I started Carter's very late in the game when they started hiring massive people part-time. But if I um, had about 2 months, or maybe, I won't say 3 months, but let's say 2 months or 3 months temporary, that would have been a very good gig in regards to making that extra money. But Carter's, just for FYI, if you live in Atlanta and you're willing to make a trip up there to Braselton next year, right before Christmas, right before, I would say around maybe October or so, when they start hiring massive number of people, that'll probably be a good time to start when you first start seeing they're hiring. And sometimes you could get on through a temp agency. But if you're looking for good Christmas money or so, and not do a whole lot of driving, Uber Eats, and all these gig jobs, then working at some place like Carter's or FedEx, UPS. My sister worked at UPS, and my niece, the one who graduated from high school, when during the summer when I went in the spring when I went to her graduation, she works at UPS as a helper. So she basically drives with the driver and helps them deliver the packages. So she got a job doing that. I don't know if it's temporary or whatever the case may be, but those are good alternatives for holiday pay, especially when these gig jobs, at least I know in Atlanta, it's starting to slow down a lot, you know. And there are people who still work the hustle. You see people's videos, they still working the hustle. But I could assure you that at one point in the year, you used to see a lot of people talking about Uber Eats and Grubhub and DoorDash and all these gig jobs. And you don't hear too much about them anymore. And I don't see a whole lot of people picking up food either. So, you know, the days of making $100+ a day, working an 8-hour, 10-hour day with Uber Eats and Grubhub and DoorDash, this is the time you have to really start piecing your different apps just to make $60, popping like it used to be. But I'm not saying you can't make any money, but the amount of money you're making is not what it used to be. And I'm talking about from a year ago. So that's one of the things that's kind of hard for me to grasp, because I saw the writing on the wall that, you know what, it's time to Feliz Navidad, Chica que no, because I knew. Well, Merry Christmas to you too. Now, if I could only, let me see, I know Feliz Navidad, Chica. I know what they, okay. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's to you too, Adam. Go ahead and subscribe to my channel. If you haven't subscribed, y'all can subscribe to my channel. So, but anyways, that's how my last couple of months been going. Basically just working my regular job. Haven't done much of the apps anymore. A lot of them I'm not affiliated with them anymore. And just too many things that's happening, too much going on in regards to pay, too many regards in terms of scheduling, and the change in the economy, how it's going. It's like a lot of these companies, they're not getting that funding like they used to be. So all the money, the startup money they would get, they're not getting that to support the platform. And they're not striving, they too in their infancy stage. They've been around for like 3 years or so. And when you get to an economy where a lot of investments are dried up for these companies, startups, you start to see them dissipate. You see them disappear. You don't see them getting a lot of the clients that they used to serve, like the Live. There's a lot of these companies, they work on a contractual basis, and after 3-4 years and they've been around with them, it starts to expire. But you don't really know about that unless you really know what the inside business of a lot of these companies operate. So, like Uber and Lyft, they're going to continue to be around, but at the same time, they're not going to be too much in the black, and they lose a lot of money. And then you see that a lot of times they cut a lot of the rates. They trying to maintain customers. People are not jumping on board with taking Uber and Lyft. And if they do, and if it is, it's not as many people like it used to be. So as a person, as an independent contractor, you have to kind of piece your money together. But doing so, you're not really gonna, you gotta have to do twice as much to get the same thing or try to maintain. And I could tell the decline of these gig jobs is not as lucrative because you don't see too many people on YouTube as much anymore. I have notifications on a lot of people, and my notification does not go off on a lot of people like it used to be. Now, of course, there's still people out there who do DoorDash, and, I see them do it every day, But I don't watch their videos hardly. Like Kingfish, I do support you, but I don't watch your channel as much anymore because one, it's kind of hard to relate, not doing the gig jobs anymore. And because I'm not doing the gig jobs as much anymore, it's hard for me to follow a whole lot of people. And to be honest, most of my time spent on YouTube, watching YouTube is mostly towards celebrity gossip channels. People, Tasha K and Walter Lee Hampton III and others. They're talking about what's going on the Real Housewives of Atlanta, the reality TV shows, what's going on in gossip land. Most of and that's it. I'm not watching as many YouTube channels relating to the gig economy because my interest is not there anymore, considering I'm not doing it anymore. And I'm still going to start up my channel with my tax consulting business, still talk about taxes and still speak on helping those with tax questions and issues. But the interest of the gig economy and people doing the gig economy, people are getting burnt out. You do it for 2.5 years, 3 years. I've been doing it for 2.5 years. And it's get to a point where, I can't drive my car as much anymore all over Atlanta like I used to. I can't go from XYZ all over Atlanta to do these gig jobs. This holiday season, let me tell you how I know people are not as active doing it anymore. I could turn on Amazon Flex. I'm still registered with Amazon. I could turn on Amazon and I could get a request for packages within minutes, and it will stay there on my screen until I hit declined. At one point, it used to, turn on. I used to turn on the app. There will be a something will pop up. It will be gone in seconds. Now, man, shoot, that thing could be on my screen for a good 4 minutes, 5 minutes until I hit decline. People are not picking up those blocks like they used to. They just not, and it's not just picking up the packages. It's the Amazon Prime. For 1 hour, $34. It would stay on my screen forever. And it would be from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock at night. People are not jumping at those things like they used to because they fed up. I could tell by the Facebook groups, people are not jumping on board like they used to. And people are still doing it. Don't get me wrong. They still doing these apps and these gigs. But I could assure you that if there was major hiring for a company that pays very decent in Atlanta, I can only speak for Atlanta, I can't speak for other cities or markets. If the pay scale was a little bit better and people are not so accustomed to saying, okay, I got the freedom, I could work when I want to, and they don't want to deal with office politics, trust me, eventually you will change your mind on that. You will change your mind and say, you know what? I'd rather work a regular job. I'm ready to go back to work. And doing these jobs, it gets to be too much. It gets to be too much. It gets to be, you have to kind of plan what your next step will be. And my next step, in which I'm working for a company now, which I can't really disclose, but it's widely advertised on Indeed, and they do offer work from home jobs, and it's across the country, well, if not across the world, they say. And right now, this company, they're looking to see if they're going to expand the contract, and this position is supposed to end in March. I feel that the compensation was not fair. Take into consideration one's expenses and time. Exactly. Hey, Mr. Safety Forever. I ain't seen you in a while. Merry Christmas. And I think that it's true. You have to look at the expenses and the compensation. But when you're at a position like I was 2 years ago, when I needed a job and I said, you know what? I'm not going to find a job as quickly, and I'm not going to get paid what I used to get paid before I left the IRS. I did these gig jobs, but I knew that my expenses was greater than my income. I already knew. And I knew that was the case. So, but it served its purpose during those 2.5 years. It served its purpose in that in those 2.5, yeah, it served its purpose. It kept my income, my reserves of money that I had set aside to carry me over for as long as it did, and it was a good thing. It was a good thing, so it wasn't bad. All right, I'll be back in a minute, y'all. Hold on a second. I'll be back. Alright, y'all, I'm back. Whew, where everybody go? Y'all just left that quick. I said I would be back. Anywho, so that's what my situation is right now. You know, I'm so not busy working, but you know, I work from 11 to 7:30, and by the time I, you know, go home or whatever, it's like it's time for me to prepare to go to bed, and that's it. So I really can't do the gig jobs during the weekday. Now I probably could do weekends like Saturdays and Sundays, and after about a couple weekends of working at Carter's, dang it, spilled dang water. You know, after working at that distribution center for a couple weeks, and then I just didn't feel in the mood to jump and do Zifty and Amazon anymore. And I'm not saying I won't do it anymore, but it got to a point where I had to start slowing down in terms of putting a whole bunch of wear and tear on my car, you know. Because if I had continued doing these gig jobs, I probably would have been approaching almost 200,000 miles on my car. You know, I only have about maybe 60 more thousand miles to go, which is what? Maybe 2 years. And that's it. 200,000 miles. You know, a car could probably go longer if you maintain it, but in reality, it wouldn't last too much longer doing that hard driving of doing these gig jobs. You know, whether you're picking up people, groceries, dropping the food, you know, that stop and go and all that's a whole lot of wear and tear. You know, and for a car, it won't last that long. You know, a car is meant to be driven in consistently and constantly, not stop and go, stop and go. That puts a lot. You know, you could do a lot of the maintenance and stuff, but, you know, I would have to prepare to buy another car or go with the option of renting a car. And who wants to go through that? You know, some people rent and they could spend X amount of dollars renting a car and they don't put a lot of wear and tear on their car. But, you know, you're still responsible to make sure you maintain the car, gas, things of that nature. And to me, the most important determinant of these gig jobs is the pay. It's the pay, you know. And it's good part-time money, but you have to be smart about it. You have to say, you know what? If I could make as least amount of money, well, if I could drive as least amount of miles and make, you know, the good amount of money, you will break even, basically, regardless. You will never make a profit. You'll never profit doing this as a full-time gig. I don't care what anyone says, but all these people who were talking about they were the geniuses and rideshare genius and all that kind of stuff, obviously they came in at that bubble. They came in when it was good, and once that bubble busted, that's it. You know, because I think that these gig jobs is only meant to be done for a very short period of time. If you in it longer, if you were in it from the beginning, from the very beginning till now, and you still doing it after 5 years, I want to know who is doing this, that's been doing this gig jobs. Uber Eats and maybe Lyft. Who's been doing it from day one? That's who I want to meet. That's who I want to see videos. The ones who's been doing it from day one and still doing it. Who's been doing Instacart and Ship and all these companies Those are the ones I want to see. That's the one. That's what I want to see. Oh, they got a pretty dog. Look at this, y'all. Let me turn away. See, that's what I want to see. I want to see the ones who've been making the videos from day one. I mean, who've been doing these gig jobs from day one and still doing it. That is what I want to see. That's the story I would like to watch. You know? Now, I know maybe Terry Tips, you know, maybe you've done it in the long term, maybe 3, 4 years, maybe. But I can't think of anyone else. I just can't. I can't think of anyone else who's done this from the get-go. And I would surely like to know, how did this start? You know, how did this gig story started? You know, I knew it started in San Francisco, and it was first introduced for corporate clienteles and business. You know, I know that story. But when did it become this big phenomenon where people were doing it as a side gig, where a common person was making good extra, you know, making extra money to do it? That's the story I want to see. And like anything else, there's always a beginning, but there's always an end. You know? There's always a high point. There's always the glorious years, and then it becomes a point where you start seeing it start to decline. You start seeing things start to go out of existence. And that's why it's always important to don't always, and I'm not talking about signing up with a bunch of apps because you say, well, one doesn't work out, you can always go to the other. Because let me tell you, it all follows the same trend. It all follows the same trend. The gig jobs such as this is always going to increase because it's always going to. I'm looking out the window because I was wondering why I see this cop driving through the neighborhood and where the hell they going. Anywho, being nosy. But anyways, that's what I want to know. You know? And to me, it's still good to do something like gig jobs as a way of saying, I want to make extra money for Christmas, or I want to make extra money to pay a bill, or maybe let me do it for 6 months so I could make enough money to pay for whatever, you know, vacation. It's still in that realm of what is good for and what it was meant for, and what it was meant to do. And but I still take the position in terms of it being your own business, career, and everything else. It's not. And to me, it serves its purpose, and it was a great experience, you know, because I think that the gift that I got from these gig jobs, as I kind of end my journey in terms of doing it on a regular basis, like I was doing for 2.5 years, was that I met a lot of good people along the ways. It's the people behind these jobs or gig economy jobs. It's the story that's interesting to me. It's not so much, oh, how much money you made, how much money you make. You know, it wasn't even about that, because you know what? Money should not be a motivating factor, should not motivate someone to do something. It's a means to a solution. It's a means to a problem, such as a bill or situations where you need to make extra money, and you say, what is the way I could make extra money without clocking in and answering to someone's Okay, who the hell just pull up? People just pull up to people's front of people's house. Okay. See, that's what I get for staring out the window, being nosy, but still. But but that's what I'm saying. These, it was doing these gig jobs is the answer to your why. Why are you doing it? Why are you driving strangers in your car, walking up to people's door, dropping off groceries and dropping off food? Why? Why are you doing it? My why was because I had to sustain myself in terms of paying my bills. That's what it was for. All the income I've made through all those gigs jobs that I've done was to pay for this house, was to pay for that car, was to pay for the food that I'm about to cook, and to pay for my bills. And that was it. It was not something I said, oh, I want to make my own business. It was not for me to make a purpose of having it as my own business. It wasn't something that, oh, I'm bored. You know what? Just for me to get out the house, I want to do some. That's some people's reasoning. I met someone that was their reason. They felt that their reason was because they were bored and they wanted to make some extra money and get out the house. And that's great too. That's great too. Fine and dandy. But at the time, I didn't believe them. I was like, that didn't make any sense. I said, you make $60,000 a year. Why would you sit there and burn up all your money and you're not making money? And this is, I said every reason. But you know what? That was not my business. I should have kept my opinions to myself and accept that that's their reason for their why. Why are these people just pulling up in front of this house? My neighbor's house next door. Let me see what they're doing. I'm being nosy. But but that's their reason why. And I know, and I speak to a lot of y'all, personally on the phone, and y'all tell me the reason of your purpose of what you want to do it for. Some people want to make extra money because they want to have enough money to start their own business, and some people, it's a way of supplementing their income. But I'm grateful for doing these gig jobs, and I learned a lot. I learned a lot that I have a hustle spirit, that regardless of what happens, that if I don't have a regular job, getting a W-2 paycheck every week or 2 weeks, that I say, you know what? I have the hustle spirit to go out there and make my money to pay my bills. And I wouldn't have to I wouldn't have to worry one bit about not having money to pay my bills or pay my mortgage and pay for groceries. I know that if I ever get to myself in a situation that I know that I could go out there and make money and always find a ways and a means. And that's what's important. And I think that's what it taught me. Because let me tell you, and I'll tell y'all this in another story when, what happened with the IRS and after 10.5 years, I'll tell y'all that in another video story. Because I just came here basically to say Merry Christmas, not to go on long-winded stories. But, I'm going to go and tell that story. And hopefully that story in my next video, I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to do a series of stories. Because now most of my subscribers, came to my channel was because they wanted to hear my experiences doing these gig jobs, And I talked about a lot of companies that a lot of people joined, like The Live. and they got on, and some people didn't hear about it. They want to hear someone's experience about it, and a lot of people got on and thanked me for bringing them to the attention of DeLive. And DeLive was one of the better companies that I've worked for. Out of all the jobs, gig jobs I've done, DeLive was pretty good, you know. But all good things come to an end, and maybe in the future, if my schedule permits me doing it again, I'll contact them. I'll sign back on. But just like anything, companies move on, you move on. You do it for a spell, and that's it. No big deal. You know, there's too many opportunities out there, and that's what brings me to this last thing. And I'm going to then start, trying to clean up and um, make some phone calls to some of y'all and see how y'all doing for Christmas. But just like this company I work with now, even though I work for this major mail order company, pharmaceutical mail service, which is a pharmacy, a big company, y'all know the name, and the contract's supposed to end in March. I don't know if it's the beginning of March or end of March, but they supposed to sign on with another company for insurance. And part of the deal was you have to be licensed in order for you to assist customers about insurance. So in doing so, to prepare for the next client and get signed on once we finish this other stint that we have to do with MedD for this mail order pharmacy company, we have to you have to be licensed in property and casualty insurance. And so I said, okay, I would like to go on and do that, but you have to wait till around February to apply. And I said, well, what if I take the test on my own, just buy the study materials, study it on my own, so I could come in and take the test and study on my own and get licensed, and then I get paid a little bit more than what they want to start out with. Because they say if you get your license, you come in as a licensed property and casualty, then I will get paid, they say you get paid about $19 an hour versus versus getting paid just 16 or 17. So you could get paid 19 or 20. So I was like, I said, let me take the test on my own, and I could come in and get paid $20 an hour, and I probably could get paid more if I become a lead. And it will bring me back to my original, it will bring me up to almost close to what I was making before I left the IRS. Now, I was making $24, $25 an hour, but if I could make $20 or so, it's going to bring me, I'll be a whole lot better financially with an increase in pay, and also entering in an industry such as insurance. So as I was doing my research to choose a provider to study from to take the property and casualty license, I come across a whole new industry of a career profession where I could still use my customer service skills and go into the insurance. Now, I don't want to be a licensed insurance agent. I don't want to sell insurance, but I will be claims. So I have an interview with this one company on Monday working as customer service and the claims for a major insurance company. Then I saw a position just yesterday for Allstate. They were hiring for customer service, but they said they was giving preference to those who had their property and casualty insurance license. So I said, well, ain't God good? I had been researching about where I was going to get my license to study for the test, for almost a week and a half, and I came across Allstate that they was hiring, and I just took an assessment test um, this morning online, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna get my license, study on my own, and um, take the state test to become a property adjuster. So when I was looking as an insurance adjuster, you could be an independent insurance adjuster. And basically what that is that when someone gets into a car accident and then someone goes out there and they appraise your car, those are adjusters. They get paid as an independent contractor. You could get paid anywhere from like $50 to $100 per claim or more. But if you do cars and things like that, you may get anywhere from like $38 an hour or something like that. It was a very good, lucrative kind of career to get into. And then if you go to major catastrophe areas, like if they had Hurricane Katrina or Hurricane Michael, and you get licensed in different states like Texas, South Carolina, or wherever, and they deploy you to go out there to do the field work while you go to people's houses and assess major damages. You could work a whole month and you could get on with a company that major insurance companies hires companies that works these major disaster claims. You could come out and make anywhere from like $10,000 for a few weeks doing all these major claims. But the drawback is, I ain't gonna say drawback, but the thing is, you're working like 10, 12-hour days, and you may be going to major areas that have major flood damages, cars. So as an independent contractor, you make thousands of dollars doing it, but you have to work long hours and travel to different disaster areas, get licensed, stay in hotels and travel to a lot of areas. And you have to be, if you're multi-licensed in multiple states, you could make anywhere from 60,000, 80,000 plus for several months during a major disaster. And you can get anywhere from like $1,000, $400 to $1,000, if not more, per claim. So I was like, so if you do 2 claims and you making just, even if you was to make $200 and you make $400 on 2 claims, and say you do that every day, 5 days a week, and you have a lot of I was like, so that's what I've been spending my time on YouTube. I've been watching a lot of videos on how to become an adjuster, property and claims. I was researching the insurance industry, and it was like, I said, that's interesting. So I have an interview on Monday, but it's not as a property. It's not as an adjuster. It's really as a claim specialist. Because, State Farm is hiring in Atlanta. For those who live in Atlanta and, Houston, Arizona, State Farm is rampantly hiring. But I'm so sick and tired of State Farm because I took the test. I've interviewed with them twice, and I didn't get anything. Now they're hiring again. So I'm just gonna take this. I'm just gonna take the test for State Farm licensed adjuster. So the next project that this company is doing that I work for is to work for a major company that tailors towards the military. So I'm not gonna say the name, but if y'all could take a guess, they're hiring for this major company that's focusing on military. So that's all I'm gonna say on that. But they're gonna pay for, they're gonna hire. They already started hiring, and they are paying for people to take the test. So basically, for 2 weeks, you're getting paid $16 an hour just to sit there all day to practice to take this pre-license exam. And then once you pass the pre-license exam, then you take the state exam. So they're hiring for that next position. So when this contract ends with this MedD pharmaceutical company that we're working with, they said that we was going to move on to the next project. But I don't want to rely on that because there've been a lot of things they were telling us at first, and I don't want to be one of those to get left out. Not to get left out. When the contract ends in March, whether beginning of March or February, I don't know. I'm just preparing myself and say, you know what? I'd rather pay for my own tests and materials, study on my own, take my time, study on the test, and then I'll be open to work for any company as a claim adjuster or a claim specialist. But I'm going to start out with that as a claim specialist, which is basically people call in about insurance and you answer their questions and that's it. And then that's a starting point. So I have an interview Monday, and hopefully it will go well. But I'm just going to interview just to see what they're about. I'm not going to worry about it if, whatever happens, happens. If it was meant for me, for me. And, I just know that come March, I'll just, I'll still work at this company that I'm working with now. And they'll put us through training and, because they need a lot of people. I said, ain't no way a person with a license is going to take $16 to $18 an hour when they could probably make more money, $34 an hour, and get paid double. Because it's a business solution company, they're going to take their piece of the money. They're going to take their part. So it's good to come in as an entry level with no experience. I'm going to start doing that. But anyone who lives in Atlanta and you're looking for a job, send me an email, tsmallwood68@gmail.com. Also, this company I work with, they also have offices in Orlando, Florida. I know they have offices in Houston. They have offices all over the place. But I know Orlando, Florida, Texas is one. There's a couple other places too that they'll be looking to hire. So, but anywho, let me get out this chair. And I wish all y'all Merry Christmas again. And I'll talk to y'all sometime during the week. I'm going to try to make more videos. I've been missing in action for a while. But I do miss y'all. So, y'all have a good one. And I'll talk to y'all later. Merry Christmas.